lobby, and while she's in the lobby before she leaves, she goes and squats in like the garbage that's there inside the lobby and just starts taking a shit.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
It was all caught on like the apartment's camera.
She's door dashing and she door dookied.
She door dookied. Like,
do you want to grab Khaled
that?
a little bit of a water? Yeah, don't get up. Don't worry. Use your manners. Use your voice.
I got this king,
man.
My God.
I got this king.
What a king, bro.
What a feeling.
If I give you that bubbly now, maybe you'll give me that bubbly later. Huh?
Okay, guys, I hope you brought the articles.
Oh, man. I got mine.
I got mine. I did my job.
Yeah, so Khaled,
Yeah, man.
Mike and I were talking. Okay, so first of all, hit us with the intro because we bullshitted last time.
HuddleTalkTV, guys. Welcome to episode 24. Also the Black Mamba episode because, 24, Kobe Bryant.
This is not a basketball podcast, though, just FYI.
Nah, but we are willing to chop it up. You know what I mean?
You get right into it with the hokey pokey stuff, huh? Chop it up.
This guy, man.
You know what's a
bad guy, man.
Yeah, you know
what's
what's
a bad guy, bro.
Are you talking about the reference to the helicopter?
Oh, that's terrible. That's not what I meant.
You guys are
You're
awful.
messed up, man.
Yo, is it a Toronto term to say this guy's chopped?
Yeah, this guy's. Yeah, you
that's
didn't know
true.
that?
Yeah.
Dude, so it was so funny. We were I was hanging out with Sean and Amon.
Yeah.
And we were watching a documentary. It's super, super good. So I'll just start off by saying you got to watch this documentary. It's called The Alpinist.
The Alpinist.
Okay. So it's unbelievable. It follows the basically the life in documenting Marc Andre, who is a world-renowned climber by the age of 23 years old. Basically, he's free soloing. So Alex Honnold is one of the top free climbers in the world. This guy put solo and free climbing on the map on a Joe Rogan podcast. He basically came on an episode, and these guys are now basically celebrities on Instagram, with their climbing accolades and the things that they do.
Okay.
And it's insane. The beginning of this documentary starts, and it's a podcast clip from Alex Honnold on Tim Ferriss, who's another podcaster, really famous OG.
Right.
And he's, one of the questions was, who impresses you right now? And this guy says there's this kid that you've never heard of named Marc Andre. And he climbs these mountains and he does stuff that I wouldn't even do. This guy's a world champion climber, speed records all over these mountains. Yeah. And it just goes into this documentary about this kid from Squamish, BC, 23 years old, who's basically got no social media presence, and people are just finding out about him online. It's like, what the hell? This kid just summited so the grand gold standard is basically an unseen first time up the mountain summit,
Really?
solo. So you've studied the routes on a map, but
so obviously,
Yeah.
these kind of climbs, they're accompanied by a team, right?
no, solo. The guy's
But the reason why it's so crazy is because he's doing this by himself, right?
Exactly.
Usually it's done with a team, right?
done with a team.
Crazy.
right?
It's crazy regardless.
Bro,
But that's insane. Yeah.
He's got literally he's on a sheet of ice because he'll go and he'll do the ice climbing.
Right.
And he has the hooks and he smashes them into the ice on a frozen waterfall. Nothing, no rope, no harness, nothing.
So Marc
he
Andre-
falls.
Bro, he's nuts.
Yeah, he's dead. So Marc Andre, I'm assuming, has very little social media presence because he's doing this all solo. He doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
Wait,
he's just
he's not
doing
even
it.
uploading this stuff now?
No, he does. He's not.
be.
Well, you can't do too much. What do you record when
yeah.
you're doing
Well,
this
I
by
mean,
A
yourself?
you could
documentary
have,
crew
a GoPro.
started following him around. Right.
Okay.
So the crazy thing, which I realized about these guys who film these documentaries, is in order to film some of these pro climbers, you have to be a pro climber. You
Of course.
you gotta be,
you gotta be
able
able
to
to do
climb
it, yeah.
and handle a camera.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
But anyways, this guy's world renowned and the top of their craft. I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
But 50% of these guys who do these summit solo climbs,
Right.
50% of the legends dead.
Yeah, they are going at some point.
50% of the legends are dead. You basically either retire or you die.
Or you die, yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
Because you're constantly pushing the boundaries, right?
Yeah,
Like,
blows my mind.
it
You're
kind of
pushing your
reminds
luck
me
every
when
time.
you're doing rock climbing, how sore you get, your shoulders and your upper body. I remember last time I went, I was like, man, my arms.
Wait, where'd you go rock climbing?
Do you
was
do
rock
climbing?
indoor
There's indoor rock climbing. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking
rock
a 4-foot wall?
Yeah, man.
The
but
YMCA?
Dude,
bro,
some of those. Oh yeah, maybe
No
it's a
matter how-
YMCA. Bro, some of those places are serious, man.
bro,
You
no
can get
matter.
serious.
Yeah, it's actually very hard. You can feel your forearms just cramping up.
Bro, it's
your
insane.
shoulders are giving out. And it's you just lay back sometimes on the harness.
It's an insane. That's low key an underrated workout though.
Bro, I
There's
was like,
people who do it weekends,
Yeah.
weekends
I was
all the
like,
time.
How
It's
can
their
somebody
thing.
do this on whatever, one of these top mountains?
Dude, it's insane.
How do you have the strength?
I think that would be one of the most satisfying sports to master
to actually because
climbing.
Because if you think about it, you know how much time and effort that goes into it, and how rewarding it must feel for you to like every time
just
when you go there.
you.
It's just you.
Yeah, do you want to pull your mic, crank your mic? You may need to. While you're doing that, Michael.
There's like I've been on a few because I like hikes.
Fix it.
I've been on like a few like hikes, summits, and stuff like that. Right when you get up and it's like rewarding. That's rewarding as it is.
Yeah.
And that feel when you get up there's amazing. And then like you take some photos or you're looking over like the edge and you see like a few of these people who are just like by themselves or maybe with a partner as well.
Right.
And they're just doing it. They're mountain climbing from the. It's like you guys didn't want to just do the trail with me.
What's the highest mountain you've climbed, Michael? Michael Temple.
Cotopaxi in South America. It was
how tall was it?
6,000 meters.
How long did it take?
Well, we started around the halfway point, so you get driven up to like chalets and stuff like that. It was like
why did they do that though?
It wasn't that crazy. It's just the altitude. Why?
Yeah.
Because there's no point starting from the bottom. Can you imagine going from like where the bottom is to 6,000?
I mean, you
take
would
a long time. Every mountain brings you to a starting point. Like, if you're going to go Kilimanjaro or Everest,
there's like base camp levels.
There's base camp levels. You go to the base camp first.
So are they really clearing the whole thing?
No, I don't think you understand that when you get to that base camp, it's cold as hell already.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about like every step when you're doing that altitude.
And I would imagine
it's way different than like walking around.
Breathing is a lot harder too.
Breathing gets very hard.
Yeah,
breathing gets very hard.
You have so many natural things working against you at that point, like the weather, breathing,
like that
body giving up on you.
Climbing Cotopaxi.
Way to break it down.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could do it, bro. Honestly speaking, very uncomfortable.
I think Mount Kilimanjaro is like number 1 or number 2 for mountains in Africa.
Right.
And my dad's done Kilimanjaro, and Cotopaxi is literally like to the dot. It's like the same altitude, same height.
Right.
So I did that, and that was like there were multiple points going up where I thought I was gonna die, and like
in terms of like fatigue. In terms of like scary terrain,
I was struggling to breathe, and I had zero energy left in me to like keep going up and keep summiting.
Right.
And
you're in good shape. You work for a living.
especially at that time, I was in really good shape. But there was me and 3 others, and I was tied up with a girl that I had met on the trip.
Tied up. I love the lingo. Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
You're not from Toronto. What did you just say?
We're connected.
We're shacked up.
We have a harness. We have a harness connecting, and then we had our
Is that
guide.
the only thing connecting?
Our guide ahead of us.
It's very romantic. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyways, she was in front of me, and I was to be behind her, and she was outdoing me.
Oh shit.
And I was like. Just
so
trying not to. I was trying not to be embarrassed by the rest of the group and just keep going. So I'm pushing myself and pushing myself.
Right.
And I fell once and started sliding down the ice and snow. No, she like caught me as I was sliding down. Well, I was like putting my boots, like the cleats basically, in right. And I had an axe too, and I had put that into the ice. And she looks back and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, literally like gonna vomit or like throw up. And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I played it off like I just slipped. But in reality, I was just falling because I didn't have a lot in me.
Right.
And I basically did that like 3 more times in the next like 10 minutes. Right. And the guide actually came back and asked, he said, "Are you okay? Or do we need to go back?" And I'm thinking maybe there's only like a couple more hours till the summit.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy. But the thing is, if I go back, she has to go back as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't want to let her down too, right? Yeah. Especially because she spent this money to do this thing.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So I just kept going, and man, I had no water left. My mouth was so dry. It was so cold. That's what gets you.
It's the water, man.
It was so cold, and then when we got up there, it's as if you just get all this energy back.
Your mouth was cracking.
This feeling that goes through you when you summit that, and when you've accomplished something like that is crazy.
You feel alive.
I've never had a feeling like that. Ever before.
So in that situation, how does the emergency team work? Like, is there an emergency team out like every? I guess there's like a station, like stop stations.
There's no emergency.
No,
you have a flare gun, and people know. So basically, before you climb up a mountain, you say like, "I'm going up now. X group is going up," and they know at certain points where you're supposed to be on the mountain. So they know when you're supposed to be coming back down. Like you log, like most mountains, like you log when you're going up.
Right.
So they can keep track because they'll be like, okay, group C should have been back by now. We should send out the search party. Right. So that's at base camp usually, like, or the log or the cabin where when you check into, you literally like check into a mountain to say, "Hey, we're going up."
Man.
It's crazy.
So, okay, in that case, like if you find like, for example, like you were running out of water at that point.
Yeah.
Right? There is no way that you guys could stop.
No, there's nothing. So it's insane, man, because when we climb Mount Washington for work, basically you go through layers of like snow. Mount Washington, I think, is one of the highest in the Appalachian, and that's in, New Hampshire? But anyways, you go up and the terrain is like snow. Right. Then you hit a layer and it's just, you watch the trees get smaller. It's just so mind blowing. And you hit a layer where there's no snow anymore. And then there's just like greens, right? And small shrubs and like moss.
Yeah.
Because it's so dry up there, right? It's just moss, like plants can't grow, right? And the interesting thing too is one of the big things when you're going up a mountain is there's actually a fine, like Mount Everest in a lot of mountains. Yeah. You have to take back a certain amount of garbage with you because up that high, stuff doesn't decompose. Nothing will decompose. Really? Like you could leave a pizza crust. Yeah. Nothing. It'll be there. Like nothing will decompose.
So they advise you, please, if you guys,
you have to take everything back with you or you're fine.
Yeah.
So I remember you get to a layer and it's like, I'm sure there's the technical terms for these different thresholds on the mountain, but once you get to these elevations, then the next one is just like rock. And then the next one, I remember the top of Mount Washington in February was just, it was like sheets of ice and it was like Hoth on Star Wars. Like there was literally the sign, like the wind is so bad, the wind can get up to like 150, 200 kilometers an hour on this mountain and the icicles go sideways. It's so, dude, it looks like you're in a video game. Yeah. You get up top and it's like, what planet am I on? And there's always and like this was something that we were able to summit in like 6 hours, right? Like it wasn't the biggest mountain. But the crazy thing is, man, every time you think you're getting to the top, the false summit, right? Because the clouds, and you realize, dude, it's a mind
You're like,
game.
this must be the top.
And then all of a sudden clouds clear, like, no, not even close.
It's completely messed up.
It's a mind game.
How long, like you think you're right there so many times and an hour later it's like I haven't moved.
Yeah.
How am I still this far from the top?
But it's so tough thinking that like there's people like that are counting on you to come up there as well because like, it's
dude. So when we went, so we did it as a group, as a work unit. There were people that didn't take it seriously. So basically everybody took a backpack and the idea was we were supposed to camp out on the mountain that night, like to do it in 2 shots. A lot of people, we decided because of the weather forecast, like if the weather forecast changes, you have to go down. You don't have a choice.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
So basically the weather forecast was changing and it was like, hey, we don't have the opportunity like to wait tonight. We have to do it now if we're going to do it. So basically everybody brought their sleeping stuff, right? Their sleeping bags, the things you sleep on, little foam mats. And a lot of people way overpacked and a lot of people didn't train properly. So I remember I had like 3 of these backpacks, like one of these mountaineer backpacks, like with the sleeping bags, everything on them, man, it was probably like another 100 pounds on me, 80 pounds, no joke. And dude, I remember at a certain point, I was sweating so badly. Every time I lifted my leg, my hamstring was so cramped and I couldn't get water in me fast enough.
Could you leave a couple of the bags at the base?
So we ended up swapping because we were like we were like the workhorses in the back, just getting it done. Because if you leave stuff there, it's just like we were so close. You would give the
heavier bags to the people in the front.
Yeah, or like usually the stronger person is the beginning of the line so they can tow it, right? Because if somebody falls or needs like basically like it's wrapped around your waist, like you're basically pulling.
So where were you in this line?
Majority of the time I was at the front, dude, and then towards the end, it's because of the slow pokes with the backpacks. I ended up doubling up on backpacks. And
so you really put the team on your back.
Whoa, dude, it was like you try and be a hero. And
you can't.
5 minutes in, dude, I was paying for it. And my cramps were so bad, but I remember you get to the top and it's like, oh my god, this is crazy. But Mount Washington,
do you think like ego kicked in at that point? Like
100%. But then it's just like, wow, like. You're at your limits, right? You're at your reserves, like you're past your reserves.
No, you really feel human at that point,
dude. You're
like it's humbling,
quick. But man, I remember we got to the top and basically because it was too dangerous, it was already too dark because we were just too slow. We had to walk all the way down. So there's a road in Mount Washington that goes all the way down the mountain.
Right.
Another maybe 6+ hours walking down this road in circles for like 6 hours after, bro. Like, can you imagine that after just climbing a mountain? And it's just like going down, like during daylight, like that probably would have been a little bit faster, a little bit more fun.
But you guys are doing it in the middle of the night.
So we had to do the road, right? And man, I remember it was pitch black. There's like sheets of ice. So you slip every once in a while. But at that point.
No flashlights with you guys?
Yeah, we had flashlights, but like not everybody had them.
Right.
But anyways, man, I remember climbing back down to the bottom of this hill and it took like literally 6 hours. You get to the bottom and it's just like, are we done? Like,
yeah.
Because you just mentally. It's
ready for sleep, man.
Man, it was wild. But then the glow you have after is just...
Bro, it must feel like such an accomplishment once you get to the bottom there.
And and that's not even like that impressive of a mountain, which is crazy.
Hey, man, it's not even that though. It's like, I've pushed myself. You know, like,
yeah, it's a humbling feeling.
Yeah, it's a different experience.
If anyone is ever in Ecuador and they're like hosteling it or whatever, you should go to the Secret Garden. It's in Cotopaxi. So it literally faces the mountain and it looks like the Shire from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow.
Like,
beautiful.
Like the hostel is beautiful. It's insane. And there's so many people. The vibes are great.
Yeah.
Like it's real great. And from there you can sign up to go do Cotopaxi. They'll ask you a few questions. Do you think you're really fit for this?
Right.
You can do the summit or you can do the base. Different choices. But as long as you can get like 2 or 3 or 4 people from that hostel that all want to do it, just pick a day. They'll sign you up. You know, you'll go one day, leave your stuff at the hostel besides what you're taking for the climb. Right. And honestly, the views and that hostel too is amazing. And you're right there.
So do they give you guys like maybe like some sort of way to contact like base? Because I'm assuming obviously you wouldn't have any phone signal or anything up there, right?
You have phone. You have phone signal. You have phone signal at the base.
Yeah.
You have phone signal at the base camp. Yeah.
Flares,
you lose it. You lose it once you start going up.
Yeah.
I remember my phone died actually going up because it was so cold. I went to pull it out once I got to the top.
Right.
Take a photo. And as soon as I pulled it out, it died in my hand.
Oh, that
it was like 70%, and it like died in my hand. I was like, I'm like sitting like this, like shaking, like my hands are cold. So I put it back in, and actually the girl that I was with, her phone was fine. Right. And so I asked her to take some photos.
Right. That's so crazy because I was actually. Go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead, man.
No, so I was actually reading an article that they were talking about. There was this guy that was actually climbing Mount Elbert in Colorado.
Yeah.
And so he was gone for like 24 hours. So they sent a search team after him. And everybody was wondering where the hell this guy is because obviously he was getting called too. So he was getting called from an unknown number like constantly. And this guy's just ignoring it the whole time on his climb, right? So eventually he comes back down and they're like, why weren't you answering the phone this whole time?
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't recognize the number.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Like he was, well, this was actually the search team that was looking for him and they were calling him from an unknown number.
Are you serious?
That whole time, right? And because nobody knew where he was.
You thought the government of Canada was after him.
Yeah.
No, or he just didn't want to be bothered.
That's
he
true.
Knew he wanted some me
I
time.
mean, when you're out in the wilderness like that, you don't want to be bothered, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you answer a call when you're doing something like that, right?
See, the thing,
it's not going to happen most of the time.
Right.
The thing that frightens me about like mountain climbing or like at least the scene is like now like the modern documentaries on it, it's such like a tourist trap. Like first of all, it's like a 3-month ordeal to climb Everest. Did you know that? Because you have to climatize. Yeah, you're up there for a while. Yeah.
Not just that, but when you're climbing Everest, there are literally only moments you have to wait and make sure that this day that comes up, that the temperature will be good enough for you, then the weather will be good enough for you to do. Like,
okay, is that like through like certain points through the mountain, or just from the whole mountain?
Through the whole thing. Wow. And then like obviously it gets more important as you get closer to the summit. But like the challenge is now what you start to see is like there's a video and I was watching, it was about mountain climbers, and K2 is another very, very high summit. I think it's in Nepal.
It's number 2. I think it's number 2 in the world.
Yeah,
K2,
and you like I remember seeing this. There's a lineup of like probably 80 people waiting to summit because there's only one route with all the clips and everything.
Yep. Right.
And it's just like that is my idea of hell. Stuck in a mountain on a line. And you've been here for 2-3 months and you just want to go home.
These people too, you have to like sign up for this years in advance.
Yeah.
Years.
The wait list.
Really?
Because there's only like 4 months of the year that you can do this.
Right.
And it costs, I don't know about K2, but I'm pretty sure
close to 100
Everest is no. I was gonna say Everest is like, I feel like Everest is like 10K.
No, it's way more.
I think for your costs with everything else, but I think just the by itself summit price
entry
way.
I feel it's
gonna be closer to 100K.
100K
because you got to pay
a quick Google.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Do a quick Google. I was gonna say. So the reason for that is number one, it's so popular now. They've upped the price. The Sherpas, you're paying for that. Yeah. You got to pay. Like there's a fine if you don't bring the garbage bag down with you. They fine you. I think you're supposed to bring 3 bags, and they fine you X amount per bag
on top of what I'm already carrying.
Yes, it's insane.
So I'm assuming then you'd have to be like a trained climber to even get access to everything.
100%.
So okay, all right, then that kind of makes sense.
How much is it, Mike? Everything's said and done. I thought it was closer to 100 grand.
So climbing Mount Everest nowadays with a guided trip with bottled oxygen will cost around $45K.
Okay.
And on the north side, it'll cost about $35K.
Well,
That's it?
That's a broad average.
What? I thought it would have costed more. And then you got to tip the Sherpas and everything.
Oh yeah. Your tips, don't get me wrong.
You got
a
to trip them?
Going the trip out there, doing all that, I'm sure you're looking at spending north of 50.
Yeah. I thought it was closer to 100.
But yeah, no, 100. I was like, no, I don't think so. Like, I'm not going to lie. If the funds are there and I have the money while I'm still, I'm not in my 30s, but while I'm still in my 30s, I want to go, I want to go do Everest. I want to go do K2. Like Everest would be the last, obviously. I'd have to
tipping culture made it to Mount Everest, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Nice.
But those Sherpas carry weight. I have no idea how they're alive.
Because they're fucking born in the mountains.
They've adapted.
It's pretty much like, it's like the Dagestani people in the UFC.
And
they're just built different, bro. Yeah. These people are just...
Once you're raised in those conditions, it's like, it's probably normal. They probably, like families, generations are probably working those mountains.
Amazing.
You were talking about the tourist things being brought out to these kind of places. And now there's lineups.
Yeah. I hate lineups.
Have you guys seen the movie?
It's Toronto all over again.
Toronto in the mountains. Have you guys seen the movie Into the Wild?
No, I've never.
Well, did we watch it together?
No.
Okay, then no.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys seen it. So
it's not like you guys finish any movies that you guys watch.
I feel like it's like a mid 2000s movie.
Okay.
Maybe before 2010.
Okay.
With
Jason Statham?
It's with Emil Hirsch. No, it's a serious movie. It's about a real life story.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So in Into the Wild, the guy very much just wants to live a secluded, like hippie type life. So he leaves home. He's from the US. He leaves home. He's just like backpacking, meeting other people.
Yeah.
So the journey goes, and then he finds out about this place in Alaska. And so he makes his way all the way up to Alaska, meets people throughout the way. They kind of start learning and knowing about him. And then he solos it to Alaska.
Yeah.
He finds this bus, a school bus that's just sitting out in the wilderness in Alaska. He gets there. He starts living there. He documents a bunch of stuff. I think he's there for like maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And the thing is, where he is, he has to head back before a certain time of the year hits.
Yeah.
So he misses crossing the river by like a day.
Shit.
And he has to make his way back to the bus now because he's never going to be able to cross the river now.
Okay.
At this time of year, he has to wait. So in his head,
What do you mean?
thinking,
Like, how long does he have to wait?
months.
Wow.
So because winter has come, sort of thing. And so anyways, so he gets back to the bus, and this guy,
I think I'm just fall asleep here, I guess.
This guy has learned how to survive out in the wild, right?
Right.
But he's going through like his scrapbooks and books on what's safe to eat out here, because there is literally animals are scarce now because they have fled, sort of thing, and it's going to get real friggin' cold for him, right?
Yeah.
So he eats. He collects a bunch of berries. He's looking through his books, and he messes up, and he accidentally,
Eats a poison one.
He ate a poison one, and literally within a day, it's eating out his body basically, and he has no way of surviving. So he writes down how he died. Like he starts writing in the bus. So maybe if someone comes to this, and anyways, he died in the bus, and it was I think 24 hours later, two guys
found
actually. I can't remember how. But if he had have just survived for like another 24 hours,
Classic.
he would have been able to make it.
Such a movie thing.
It's real. It's real.
One more day, fam.
But
it's real.
One more day.
But here's my take. Khaled, you and I agree on this. I don't like movies without happy endings.
Yeah, man.
That's fucking. That's just sick in the head.
But the reason I brought it up,
it was supposed to be him and his children sitting down in their living room.
Yeah.
And him telling them the story
around the fire. Of course.
Come on. I don't remember his real name.
With some oatmeal raisin cookies, man.
But yeah, right. But they flew. His helicopter was flown, or his body was flown up by a helicopter.
Right.
And that story and him became so big throughout the U.S. and North America.
Wait,
people
they
loved
called the mountain after him, or that area.
No. But here's the big problem, right?
Shot my shot.
This guy knew how to survive in the wilderness. Obviously, died anyways because of messing up.
Yeah.
But this story and the movie had so many people wanting to go and find that spot and find that bus in real life.
Yeah.
It became a big tourist thing. A lot of people who have no business getting out there, and they are not going to survive. So people
tell me people kept dying.
So people were dying trying to get there. Now the bus is real. They've now removed the bus. They had a chopper fly in and get rid of the bus to stop people from trying to get out there, right?
Right.
Wow.
But that became, like I was saying, your tourist
story.
thing.
You know what's so crazy about that? Because you would think that you would.
That's a good story, Mike.
Even though that was amazing storytelling, first of all, Mike. But You know, you would think you would learn a lesson. You would learn a lesson.
You just
big
you just pop those. Pop those.
I had to pop it. I had to pop. But at that point, you would think it's a lesson learned, right?
I 100%. Like if I'm going on vacation,
I'm not planning to die.
You will not find me anywhere cold.
Find me at the beach.
Find me at the beach. Listen, I will die like the way of Steve Irwin. Rest in peace, bro.
Yeah.
But you are not catching me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on vacation somewhere snowy now.
So would you rather die like somewhere like there in Alaska or like die in the middle of like the Sahara from the heat?
I'd rather die in Dagestan.
Are you bury me with
at least I got to meet Khabib before I died.
Yeah, fuck Khabib, Hezbollah.
Sure.
The real legend of the village.
Yeah. But man, I don't know. Like the idea of going to one of these trips, like imagine just, you have to be in this, like, that's a particular mindset that you got to be in. Like you will find me on, like, no joke, on the beach. Like I'm not interested in anywhere
Why
cold.
would I put my life at risk and go to a dangerous spot for vacation? It defeats the whole purpose of vacation, bro.
I'm trying to relax.
Yeah,
I got a stressful job.
out.
I'm not trying to die while I'm off.
Like your only days off and you decided to, leave this earth.
Do you guys believe that, first of all, mystical creatures, like people are looking to, tackle these terrains, but
right.
Like I was watching a documentary, that there's apparently a whole Bigfoot sighting thing in Florida in the Everglades.
Is it
in the Everglades? Yeah.
Was it an elk episode?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I don't watch that stuff. Do I look like I'm 13?
But it's important to note that it's in Florida, so it could just be a local crackhead. So it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Everything weird happens in Florida.
A lot of them Florida mans be looking like,
Did I ever tell you guys the story of Bigfoot in San Francisco, like north of San Francisco, and why?
That's just Kamar.
So literally, I don't remember if I've talked about this, but this is how the conspiracy theories of Bigfoot started.
Yeah,
it was basically right after the Vietnam War in the 70s, I think, or the 60s, and in the 70s, people started moving outside of San Francisco north because it was it was becoming too mainstream. Right, so people decided they'd get away in the north of California. No, in the forest, live in the forest. Right, and this was a time where marijuana, obviously, they started growing all these grow ops in the middle of nowhere in these forests, and so this hippy dippy culture basically began. And that's Northern California is where Bigfoot sightings all happen. And basically, I think that the challenge here is
just a bunch of high people seeing things.
So once you dig deep enough, you have all these people recounting these stories of Bigfoot and how people would come back and bodies would be half eaten, stuff like that. And there's no conclusion as to whether it was other grow ops and like drug people and like trying to shut down each other's operations, or there's actually something out there.
Americans love their myths and conspiracy.
I love them too. Every culture does. Just because you have no culture.
Yeah.
You have no culture.
Yeah.
And you're white.
You're uncultured, Mike.
You're uncultured.
It's the worst mix.
What? Okay. So mermaids?
I remember when mermaids? No, not a thing. But
they are a thing.
Growing up for me, we have this thing called Igal Shidad, which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny because it has my last name.
Okay.
But so basically, it was a story that we used to grow up to every like when my mom, whenever she tried to put us to sleep, she'd be like, "Listen, you guys better go to sleep, or Igal Shidad's gonna come and get you," and stuff like that. It was like some scary mythical being that was like traumatizing a village in Somalia somewhere, and it was just. I was like, man, at some point,
you can't skip over the story. You just skipped over the whole story.
No.
Give us the story.
The story is, just to recap, is basically there was this guy that was scared of everything, and then he ended up being the thing that people are scared of.
Yeah.
The people, Igal Shidad.
Igal.
So you got to remember that's my last name, Malik.
Yeah.
Igal.
Yeah. So. And so basically they would use that to scare children and stuff like that, and it was just like. Compared to other like stories that I've heard, it paled in comparison.
It's like the opposite of Santa Claus, bro.
Bro, one thing that actually really used to scare me when I was growing up was Jeepers Creepers.
What?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Jeepers Creepers, man. It was that guy. Remember when there was the first movie actually?
Like the Scarecrow guy.
Yeah, the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
I barely remember that. You have to fill me in.
Don't go in that cornfield.
I think it was like every 100 years he would pop up again, and he would need like
Classic.
one part of his body to
Sucked off?
continue. I mean, it would have been simple if that was the case. Everybody would have lived.
Every 20 seconds looks like this episode being a little too serious. I'm gonna put some sauce out there. As if my chop it up intro wasn't enough, bro.
I'll leave you guys alone. Just have somebody suck me off. I'll go back into hiding. A lot of people would have lived if that was the case, but unfortunately it wasn't. Okay.
Imagine if so you're in a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Everyone's dying from Michael Myers. You know.
Yeah.
This is literally he's about to like shank you and just be like, yeah. Do that. I swear to God, he's gonna stop. He's gonna leave. I swear to God. Yeah, Michael, do it again.
Plot twist is Kumar.
Bro, the water went up my nose, man.
Your dagger's so deep.
Bro, the water just shot
Guys,
up
get
my
help!
nose.
I've been penetrated.
You thought I was a rookie?
The Kumar banter is elite.
Oh my God.
Bro.
So, anyways,
Somebody's got to take this over. My nose is burning.
So basically,
Tell us.
So I don't remember how many like every 100 years, whatever. Let's just say this guy comes out
every 69
and
years.
he needs to needs a part of his body to continue living. So I think in this movie he needed a pair of eyes.
Okay.
So he basically there was a school bus, a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
They were heading to I don't remember where exactly they were heading to. This movie was so long ago.
Probably UFC 21.
Probably somewhere in Vegas, man. Dana White's driving the bus.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
these guys are on their way. So this guy, as every movie, he ends up in the middle of the road randomly, standing there.
Yeah, that's the worst. The headlights.
Yeah, the headlight. Yeah. What is that in the far distance over there? Oh, it looks like some like Undertaker. You know what I'm saying? He's standing there. So, anyways. So these guys get to their destination, and I guess he hunts them down one by one, and he chooses a specific pair of eyes. So he falls in love with a pair of eyes that he needs.
Okay.
And he ends up taking, I think it was this Mexican kid, takes his eyes and continues to live on. And then part 2 is him looking for another part of the body. I forget what it was, but
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Stuff
really,
like that actually scared me.
You know what irks me about horror movies is, I swear to God, like when the camera's not rolling on these bad guys, they must be sprinting. Because they walk the whole time like a turtle.
They drag their feet, bro.
But they never lose you.
Bro.
So I got interesting news. I got interesting news.
Yeah.
So really good series, actually. One of the better ones on Netflix is called The Movies That Made Us, right?
Yeah.
And there's one that specifically features on horror movies and the OG and how they all had an effect on each other and like what the original one was.
Okay.
Really?
And one of the OG horror movies was Halloween.
Right, yeah.
I think the very interesting tale behind this is you see that basically none of these guys who originally made these scary movies, like basically there was Stephen King, there were books, but there were no real movies that were books, right? So Halloween was one of the first movies where basically it was a group of hippies that decided to film this movie and spent a total of like maybe 30 or 40 grand or like no money at all. Basically, they were one of the first movies to use a Steadicam,
like a paranormal activity type of thing.
So that's one of the highest grossing movies, but that was like way after. Halloween came way before it.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about it is it was basically one of the first movies ever where they used like a Steadicam, but it was like a body mounted Steadicam.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the brilliance behind the movie was it was one of the first horror movies that showed the perspective of the killer, because like a lot of the times in the Steadicam when it's walking, it's like but it's so well, like what a good use of the Steadicam. So it's basically like they mounted on this on the body of a person, POV, and they're just walking, and basically they ended up filming this whole movie. And it obviously had a cult like following, and one of the reasons they said,
because you're basically living as the bad guy.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things about the movie is it spawned the whole generation of Jason and Freddy and all that. Yeah. Literally, all the other guys who made those movies are like, yeah, we just wanted to rip off Halloween because it was one of the highest grossing movies of all time with such a low budget.
Right.
And the funny thing is, one of the things the director says and the producers, he's like, the only reason I think it did so well was because at the beginning it didn't really do well. But then next Halloween it came around, it was played in theaters again because of the name. Because of the name. And he said,
did they release this outside of Halloween, I guess?
Well, they originally released it towards like Halloween, right? But it was just like it was an independent hippy dippy, like it was a no-name movie. It was just a bunch of kids. It wasn't under any mainstream, right? And so that's the reason. So like after the first year, that's when it took off, because it started getting into cinemas again, and there weren't really many horror movies around. Right. And it was like one of the most iconic things. And it's funny because you watch one of the directors, and here's the interesting thing about Jason. So the Jason that we know, you know how he has the hockey mask
and all that.
That didn't come around. The hockey mask didn't come around to the 4th movie.
Why is that? So how did that come
What were
about?
the first ones?
The first ones, he was just like a messed up face.
Bare face?
Yeah, it was like a messed up face. But we associate Jason with the hockey mask. But the early ones, like I think back in the 80s, he didn't have
70s or 80s.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And the funny thing is, you look at the director, and they literally, like scene for scene of people dying, the director and the producer basically say, yeah, we wanted to rip off every single kill scene from Halloween, but with more gore.
Wow.
So literally, like, you know, the slicing, just the way that they do those things.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting. And basically, the guy made that movie.
Yeah.
And the reason he made Jason, apparently he titled it, this is how stupid things were back in the day in the 70s. He took an ad in one of the newspapers, one of the magazines, one of the front pages, and he said it'll be the scariest movie of all time. Before he had written a script, filmed anything, gone to crew. And
just wait on it.
He's like,
don't sleep.
Don't sleep on it.
So fun fact is basically he's like, it worked for these guys and they made like no money. Worst case scenario is I just spent 20 grand. Like, I'm sure I can ship out some crappy movie and at least break even on this. But it ended up being
Hitmaker.
And the crazy thing is, you look back and forth, he basically was like trying to create this movie and marketing it like it was already made before he even had any money. And so when he got the money, now he started
actually putting back into the project.
Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
So basically he's like, yeah, this will probably work. Let me take up a newspaper ad. Can you imagine if things work like that now? Like, first of all, the amount of balls, respectable.
Right?
Very
respectable.
I'm not gonna downplay that. But also it's amazing that back in the day, it's like that formula, there's just no content.
Yeah.
So imagine you took a newspaper ad, you could wait for a year.
It's crazy how newspapers actually like just fizzled out. Like, you know, like I think it was like maybe like 10 years ago we were using them.
That's true, man. Well, I think I don't know. Obviously, ads is everything.
You would find them everywhere, though.
Yeah.
Even like public establishments, anywhere you go.
Yeah, but it's not that they're still being delivered, but it's not
such a legacy thing.
It's like a holding on to it.
Yeah.
No, there's. I don't even
online
think they're
subscriptions. We talking about
online subscriptions. Yeah, I don't think they're being delivered anymore, are they?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
Yeah, they are. What are you talking about?
Really?
Yeah, they are.
Literally, multiple people on my work read the newspaper every day. I understand it's a service job. It's in the trades, right? So job in the trades, those guys still like not everyone, but some of them, like the older people, they just read the newspapers.
So a relic of the past.
The crosswords.
You guys remember, Globe and Mail, Financial Post, like all those newspaper boxes.
Yep.
You know that's where in the come up of the 90s, that's where a lot of dudes store their drugs on the street corner.
What?
Yeah.
It's like well documented.
In mailboxes?
In like the newspaper.
The newspaper.
When you're handing it off?
No, just like in the machine. Because if you get stopped by a cop and they search you,
right,
like you can't have anything on.
You're talking about the boxes that like open up, right?
Correct.
Exactly.
So they would break it and they hide their stuff in there.
I was thinking drug deals on the street. They're handing it off in newspapers.
Would make sense, but yeah. So basically, they would have a guy on the block, and they'd have somebody else making sure nobody took out a newspaper.
Yeah.
So imagine you went to take out a newspaper and someone's like, "Don't do that."
Whoa. Okay. Guess I won't know what's going on today.
Yeah. I know.
It's all right.
The times we've come from are crazy, dude.
Yeah, actually.
I think we've evolved so freaking quickly.
That is kind of actually scary. Because I remember, I think you were telling us one time on one of the podcasts that there's not much more we can do, like as a human race. You know, like you were talking about an article, I forget. But there's not much evolving for us to do in technology and all that stuff. Like we've kind of hit like a...
Well, man, I think if we're going to talk about this, I think one of the biggest breakthroughs, like you look at iPhone 13 progression of any of the new phones, there's nothing left. The only thing that's really going to be the step up is it's not tech, it's software, right? Like,
right.
So I like obviously the one supports the other, but I think once you get into the world of higher bandwidth and virtual reality and 360, like a lot of people have no idea how lost in the sauce. And I argue this, and this is one thing that I throw at people. I think probably one of the biggest audiences that's absolutely been, shoehorned into social media.
Right.
And they don't realize it is the boomer generation, like with Facebook. Mm-hmm. They're very dependent on this.
Well, they probably call it Meta now.
Like, yeah, but can you imagine, and this is the future that I go into, I think the people who are going to be against VR, the old generation is going to love it. Okay, so imagine this.
Yeah.
You're an old person. You're 70 something, right? You can get around, but you prefer to stay moderately active, and it's safer in your house. And imagine the pandemic, right? Imagine we get another pandemic in 10 years.
Yeah. God
imagine you have grandpa who loves watching birds. He used to watch birds in his youth, traveled the world. Now imagine all of a sudden there's a VR game where he can just do VR bird spotting.
Yeah,
it sounds whack, but tell me how much boomers imagine boomers, you can see like all the native pidgeys,
right,
or blue jays, and you just look at the scene all day long and you collect. The thing people don't understand is our brains are so wired for achievements and little dopamine receptors. These mini games, once you put them into 360 and you make a mini game out of watching birds or collecting they collected stamps and plates and dumb shit. They're going to be the biggest whores for virtual reality.
For sure.
I think at first when social media was like starting, they weren't, and they would rip on millennials or whatever for being addicted. But I think over time it's slowly crept up on them, and they've become very bad.
Dependent on it.
Very dependent. They need their phone. They need Facebook. They need whatever, Instagram.
Imagine like you have 7-year-old grandma. She puts on her VR goggles. She's in the Wheel of Fortune audience.
Yeah.
Or she's playing the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And the reason I think to this is, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. I can't say it. But basically it's this, the guy who's a drug addict, her son, and the woman who's equally as sick, but it shows her from a different perspective. The husband died. She's going crazy. She's taking pills. She's obsessed with losing weight and image so she can get on this TV game show.
Right.
And the whole thing is it shows like the basically how both of their lives are spiraling out of control. The son who's a drug addict getting tied up in the weird things, and the mom who's basically methed out on diet pills and pulling her hair out.
It's a very sad movie.
It's a very sad movie. But I look at that and I'm like, damn, like. Literally, if you could take half the useless Americans and put them in the VR game show and make them heroes, you would never come out. You will never come out
forever.
Honestly, right?
Yeah.
If you start doing, and I joked about this before, but leaderboards in church.
I remember that one.
Leaderboards for religion. If you Khaled prays 5 times a day, he gets an achievement. If he prays 5 times a day for 7 days straight, he gets another one.
Yeah.
You're telling me you're not going to be on local leaderboards? There's going to be achievements for everything, and people are. That's the end of like humans.
It's so crazy because I was talking to my cousin the other day. He got a job at Apple, right? So I was like, "Oh, sweet, man!" So I call him up. I'm like, "Yo, bro, you started working there?" And he's like, "Yeah, started this week actually." I was like, "Dope! I have somebody I can get some discounts."
Of course, classics.
Come on now, you know what I'm saying? Save some coin.
Like, can you grab me?
So he was telling me, he's like, I was like, "Listen, I was trying to actually get some AirPods, right?" And he was telling, I'm like, what about the new ones? Like, what's different about them? And he's like, there's not much difference in this one, actually. It's probably you get like spatial audio. They probably removed like those the little rubber that they have in the Pro. Nothing beats that every time, man. Every time.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
The rubber was removed.
Yeah.
If you get spatial audio, that's about. I'm like, that's it.
There's like, nothing, bro.
I'm like, all right, so why don't I just save some money and just get the generation before? At least I get noise cancellation. He's like, yeah, that's probably your best bet. I'm like, so what are people really being sold then?
I think, but yeah, man, like we're basically
like minor upgrades. That's not even an upgrade, I would say.
So, and here's the funny thing. Is like, so I'm directly impacted by the chip shortage. I work in the auto industry,
of course, yeah.
And obviously, turns out, interesting fun fact, semiconductors are the biggest holdup right now in the processors to basically make cars because everything's chipped and electronic.
Right.
But automotive, the sector only makes up 3% of the market for semiconductors, which is really interesting. 97% of the rest of the world or rest of the market is microphones, headsets, computers, everything else, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you'd think there's for every one car, there's probably 100 computers sold,
right?
Deal. So, anyways, the point being of all that is we are not going to see the regular levels of automotive production resume across the world for probably, like, we don't anticipate to be back to 100% production until the end of 2024.
Bro, that's so crazy.
The end of 2024.
Actually, like last week, I was going with my aunt. She was getting a new car, actually. So we went to the Toyota dealership.
Fuck you.
And
first of all,
Should have called up Nick.
On record, fuck you.
Should have called up Nick.
See, that's all right.
She didn't buy the car anyway, so
of course she didn't.
So
she didn't go through me.
Yeah, she didn't. So we go to the dealership. We go to Honda. We go to Toyota.
You messed up.
We're checking out the CRV and we're checking out the RAV4, right? So she saw one that she liked. It was like a hybrid RAV4, and they're like, yeah, okay, so this is the one you want. She's like, yeah, we'll go with this. She's like, oh yeah, so you're gonna get it in 3 months. What?
That's a lie too, by the way.
Really?
That's a lie.
Wow.
That's a lie.
So what, did she turn down or?
She said, yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't really want to talk about
this. I don't. Okay, no. You got to expose this.
No,
what do you mean it's a lie? How?
No, there's no lie. It's just everything is very expensive right now. But like I wanted to go back to the original point of we'll talk about car shopping another time. I'll bore you guys to death.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing to recognize
conflict of interest.
Yeah, conflict of interest. Exactly. I think the important thing to recognize here is that the world's production, like even the PS5s as we know it, those are not going to be available like on the shelf for another year.
We
learned that the hard way during the pandemic.
No, but it's still amazing that when did the PS5 come out?
Over a year ago.
It was like February, right?
Over a year ago.
About a year ago.
Yeah,
maybe a little less. I can't remember.
Definitely a year plus.
No, I think it was like last year February.
But it's crazy.
They released the consoles pre-Christmas.
Yeah, you're right.
He's right.
So even now it's crazy because my brother just got one, but he's one of the lucky few who maybe sometimes the store will just have one.
Listings,
and they'll just have one, and it's like, oh damn, I was here.
Yeah.
Someone would have been here an hour later and would have gotten it, but he wasn't looking for it. It was just like, oh shit, they have one.
It found him.
He found him, and that's basically what it is. But it's insane that a year later, and you can tell that it's still going to be like this.
But here's the thing, and this is what blows my mind: is like those machines are good. But keep in mind, like a year from now, you're still probably not going to have one. I'm probably not. Sure. It's just not worth
probably
it.
Not.
It's now 2 years into a console gen cycle. Yeah. And if you think about it, now that hump, it's like, I could wait another 3.
Bro, remember at that point during the pandemic and people were reselling it for like $1,000 more?
Yeah.
Market price?
But like, let's talk about like capabilities. I think the next gen, that's going to be the true VR one. And I always argue that like the reason, like VR, you have the tech today and you have the capabilities, but there's nobody producing on it because it's very, very costly.
Yeah.
And there's no studios that specialize in it, right? I think the interesting thing most people don't realize is even game and movie development, they actually outsource majority of it to Chinese companies.
Really?
And they get them to bid on this labor. And that's why the idea of being an animator or being, a video game designer, literally you have no idea that majority of the people that are doing it in North America, they have this framework for a product and then they ship out the idea to the cheapest studio in China who's willing to do it. Right. So specifically animation, like if you want to be an animator, like work for Walt Disney, there's maybe 400 people in the world that do that. Like legitimate with US salaries is what I'm saying. The rest, it's just like they ship it out to Kwangzhang Studio or Alibaba Studios, right?
Wherever you got your most recent masks from.
I don't even think like there's many like VR studios like that, like what you were saying here. Because I remember me and a couple friends, like this was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We went to one and it was like somewhere in Saga, and like it was like the inside, it was like inside like a warehouse.
Yeah.
And it was completely empty.
Yeah.
It was like minimal things. Like there was a couch in the at the front.
The couch looked familiar.
Was this just a big was this backroom casting couch facility?
Yeah.
Is that what this was? It seems like you're describing. I've been there and it sounds like what you're describing.
Have you been there in VR though?
What?
Have you been there in VR?
Oh yeah. I haven't been there in real life, just in VR. Yeah.
You're the one holding the camera. That was POV 8 guys on me. POV 8 guys on me.
Michael had to have goggles on too behind the camera in case anything gets in his eye.
I don't think that's healthy for people.
Oh, no,
you know what? Even so, let's talk about it for a sec. I was on YouTube the other day, and I got an ad for a mobile game.
Yeah,
and I love it. I think sometimes they're hilarious. And I turned off all my YouTube targeting. You can go in and you can do that, so it doesn't serve you personalized ads. It just does its best based on your IP and the video that you're watching.
Yeah.
And I love to see where people try and tackle me at, figure out who I am as a consumer. And so there's this one video, and it's hilarious. It's this king. And all of a sudden there's these two like anime looking girls.
Okay.
And they're like, which one do you pick? right?
Wow,
and
sounds
it's
kinky
so
as hell.
sexualized.
It's so sexualized. And they'll tell you it's not. And this isn't sexualized.
Oh wow, Sailor Moon. Wow,
bro. But like these ad games, like these ads from these mobile games are so doo doo. I feel so bad for the generation of kids. Like they have no idea what real games are.
As minimal as our games were, at least they were good.
They were good. I hate the amount of microtransactions, man. It's pathetic. But anyways, this game
about today. Speaking of microtransactions, my little brother came in the room.
Zach,
like he was asking my mom again. Mom, I have to go buy something online. It's only out for like a week. If I wait too long, I'm not gonna be able to purchase it anymore.
Is that how he sounds? He sounds like a white guy.
Like this, bro, man, his voice is cracking, bro.
Yeah.
So
bro, I swear to God, Zach, he never gets older.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 15 now.
That's stupid. That's stupid. He's not 15. This kid's got to be like 21 by now, bro.
He's been 15
This guy's
for like
been
10
15
years.
for 10 years now. Is this kid ever going to grow up?
And he knows who I am every time I see him.
But get out of the games and buy skins, bro. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Stop buying skins, fam.
Bro, I swear I've known this guy. How old was he when I met him?
Bro, you've known him since
16?
he was a baby, bro.
I know.
You've known him since he was a baby,
That's
fam.
messed up.
Yeah. But man, it's like that's where they get these kids these days. It's like all those microtransactions, man.
But hold on. So if we were in VR,
so
we went to the office for the first time a little bit last week, just for one of the new offices downtown for like a open house type day.
Yeah.
And I was laughing. I was like, man, if everybody was just in VR, we don't even need to be in the office.
Actually come here, yeah.
But I love the idea. If I was in VR, bro, I would not make my guy look anything like
Let's
me.
just ditch teams.
I would, yeah, exactly. I'd make my guy like probably like 6 inches tall and like green and like very like disproportionate. And I'd make him like wall jump everything.
Bro,
right?
wouldn't that be so weird though? Once you guys come into office and just like, okay, nobody looks anything like they were in their VR here.
Yeah,
whatever. Who cares?
How can I? Who's Nick?
Whatever.
Who is he?
It doesn't matter. I would literally be like, and Michael, I watch you play video games. Like imagine you're in a meeting and all of a sudden you go up to somebody's face and you're just tagging them, bro. And they're just trying to present and you're just being so disrespectful.
Mason.
People are going to use it. Like I remember one of the Second Life or something like that was one of these shit VR games. Basically you go in and you can dress up as like anything. Like people have these clubs and shit. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's like furry shit. Yeah. So people go in and they pretend like their avatar is them, like real deal.
Yeah. It's like Sims, right?
What are those?
Yeah, pretty much.
Have you guys seen those clubs where you go in and you put on like headsets?
Silent
things?
Silent
Have you ever seen the videos of those?
You hear the squeaking?
When you're watching the people in their dance and it's just like,
bro, it's the funniest thing ever, bro.
But I don't like
the silent discos, bro.
But I don't understand. I personally can't understand those clubs.
Yeah,
because
shoes,
like,
bro.
why aren't you just in your room with your headsets on jamming out then?
Because it's being with other people, you fucking loner.
Yeah, but I've what? They're the loners. They don't want to hear each other.
That's a great way to host a party when the pandemic was like at its peak.
What?
But they don't want to hear each other. They don't want to. Have you seen those videos? They don't even talk to each other.
I can't hear anybody at the club, anyways.
What do you mean? Yeah,
First of all, no.
You adjust, bro.
No, okay. So I'm gonna say something. I have trouble in a social setting.
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do, like you guys know, I talk a lot.
Yeah.
When there's a
you
lot,
want to speak.
Exactly. But when there's a lot of people, I like to keep my mouth shut. My favorite thing is watching the social dynamic.
Okay,
I love watching three people talk. I love watching one person start to lose interest, start to look around, find the next group he's going to talk to. I love a group of 5 grow to a group of 7. I love when all of a sudden food is introduced, 3 people. I love watching
me on the couch,
socials
just on my phone.
On your phone.
In my opinion, those silent clubs are like targeted towards introverts. It's basically an introvert getting out and doing something while actually not being social at all. They're going to a very social thing and doing the least social while there.
No, how can you talk to anybody in a
noise
club?
Cancellation.
That's,
you could,
that's
bro,
literally what half of dudes go to a club.
Yeah, exactly.
Half of the dudes that go to a club go, I'm picking up a girl.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's their mindset.
They say that and then they stand against a wall.
No, I understand that, but it's their mindset.
There's a mindset, of course.
To do that.
With this, it's like you're totally like even canceling that part out.
No, you can.
I'm not even here to talk.
First
what the
of
hell's
all,
the point of that?
You guys are completely disregarding the fact that body language exists. Non-verbal communication makes up like 70% of the way we interpret things.
Start doing hand language?
Not at a club.
If I start, okay, so if you're a
spot.
female and I start dancing, I eye you up and down, I see you're taking interest in me too. We start silent discoing together. At a certain point in time, guess what? I'm pulling off your headset and you're going to talk to me. What's wrong with that? Don't suck your teeth at me. Man, really?
I don't know, man. Because you're gonna lose out on the music too. Then at that point,
no, you're not.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
You can't win, bro.
You guys are such
2-1.
And guess what? If somebody wants to be nosy and take off their headphones just to see what you guys are talking about,
awkward. No, it's not awkward
because it's silent. The whole place is silent.
No, it's
you can hear what you're saying.
There'll be a low rumble. There'll be a low rumble.
You have no idea.
There's no rumble. There's just squeaks, shoes.
Bro, you have no idea. If I went to one of those silent clubs, I would be letting it rip. I would be farting so much, and then I would look over and be like, "Oh," and point at others and blame it on. I would be devious, bro. Like
you guys can't do anything normal. You guys can't do anything normal.
This guy,
I remember
you can't do anything normal while we're discussing silent clubs. That is not normal.
So first of all, I remember when we went to.
It's actually scary.
What was it that we went to one time? It was my birthday in like second year, and we went downtown to like one of the Frosh events. And by the time like we got so fed up of it, we just started going around and like harassing people.
Were you egging people? Like
no, we cannot confirm or deny that.
Can't say anything. That's where the conversation ends.
Woofing.
Do you remember that one time? Yeah. Okay,
let's go woofing.
Okay, listen. So in VR, I'm telling you, Grandma and Grandpa, they're going to be on Price is Right. They're going to be watching birds.
Yeah.
They're going to be reliving live memories and videos. They're going to love that. They're going to be more addicted than our gen.
I don't know if it's a good thing because like where's the physical activity?
Sure.
They're just
no.
Addiction.
You guys are so okay. Listen, there's going to be levels to this shit.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So imagine you put your goggles on. Now you're out in the environment. You guys got to understand augmented reality is going to be one of the biggest things to impact humans.
No, I agree. I agree.
Ever. Augmented reality.
Yeah.
Guess what? People love a good scavenger hunt. So you know GeoGuessr that we play and it says find this building or this city or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine you had a GeoGuessr version of like an augmented reality.
Okay.
And the shit would be open source, so you'd be able to program it like nobody's business. Like Khaled, imagine you went to a sports game and there was a VR game that's like, hey, find like 5 unique jerseys or something like that.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like every time your thing finds a unique jersey, it like catalogs it and you complete a collection. So find 10, I don't know if it's a Leafs game or basketball game. 10 different Raptors jerseys.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get a collection.
Yeah.
And now you get a Raptors badge for saying like home game pro.
Yeah.
How hard would you be into that? You'd be going to every game.
See, your mindset is what's ruining this world.
Yeah,
why are you thinking of this thing?
Capitalize on everything.
Very dangerous. I agree because
shut up.
Capitalize. Speaking
you're gonna. Oh, so go ahead. You
sorry,
capitalize.
let's say speaking of capitalizing on things.
Yeah.
Capitalization, whatever. I was thinking today, it's so funny.
Yeah.
How the world and America is very much hate the rich now, right? It's very popular to hate rich people, right?
It's all bullshit.
The ultra rich. No, but
the ultra rich.
I do believe, right?
Tax the rich.
Tax the rich. I hate the rich. All this stuff, right? And it's like the moment someone sees, even if it's a TikTok, but they find out the person's wealthy, they don't even know why they're wealthy. They don't care. They just hate them.
You shouldn't have that much money. It's not good for you. But it's not good for the world.
But at a time where it's so popular to hate wealthy people, Elon Musk keeps coming out winning.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm not really going to get too much into this.
Yeah, but he's a G, bro.
But
no, he's not. He's got a good PR team.
He's used social media.
He tweets
in a way that nobody
else does.
No other billionaire
bro,
has done.
The access that you have to him is crazy.
He's personable. He's just like us, so it's okay.
Man, I remember when they were saying that, you need this much amount of money to end world hunger, and if you contributed this much money, it would be done. He's like, all right, prove to me that this could happen.
Not just that, but then last week, he goes to Twitter and he holds a poll. He says, if this poll goes in the favor of yes, I will sell 10% of my Tesla stock, and that's how he would be taxed. And basically he is saying that he will pay for a certain amount of taxing by selling his stock, which was the amount that he was selling was worth, I don't even remember how much, like 2 billion or something like that. But, so here's the thing. Obviously, when he holds that poll, it's going to go to yes. After 24 hours are up, it's going to go to, so he knows that once 20, he's a smart guy. So he was always going to sell that stock.
Yeah.
Really?
They just want people to suck him off a little bit.
No shit, but he holds the poll and people are like, holy shit, we just made Elon do this thing. That's crazy. Elon's so great.
Bro, what a guy.
Let's not talk about people. Real G's talk about ideas.
You can't finesse.
Real G's talk about ideas. So let's go back to capitalizing on augmented reality.
Okay.
So
I don't think you guys... Elon, though?
I don't know enough to...
He's a certified finesser, fam.
No, let's just not talk about it. But listen, you guys telling me, if you go out in real life and you really think about the applications of augmented reality,
Yeah.
you can gamify every single thing. Like,
That's not cool, man.
yes, it is cool. Scavenger hunts, everything. And guess what? Now all of a sudden there's going to be scavenger hunts sponsored by Coca-Cola. There's going to be a little branding. There's going to be things little introduced here and there.
Yeah.
It is going to be so great. People are going to spend more time outdoors than they ever have.
But bro, with those good things, there's always people that take it to the extreme, right?
Yeah, no, you're being conditioned for the long term of something that's going to fuck you.
Yeah, but don't you think like in the wrong hands that could lead to something like, let's just say there's a game where like if you kill somebody or do this or do that, you know, like stuff like that.
First of all, fam, we've had Grand Theft Auto for ages. Don't you boomer me. If there's a game where you kill somebody.
Every few years there is something that happens in the US and the news article is like killer was
and
like
like
Call of Duty.
you know,
no,
like
like
motivated by Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah,
is
by a
basically
game,
what
yeah. But imagine now it's a reality where you're actually going and completing this missions yourself.
Nah,
you know?
bro, it's not going to be like that.
There's people, bro. I'm telling you,
To go kill people?
No, I'm not. Okay, the killing is an extreme, bro. It's an extreme. But like things that would be considered breaking the law, like in order for you to like get an achievement in the game, you know, like it could be a whole let's just say there's a whole like a market, like black market for these games where people download this and they're sharing this on like weird blogs and stuff like that.
Bro, can I tell you something?
On the dark net.
You know how fast they'll get caught? Because everybody else has a VR headset. You know how fast they will get caught? I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what.
But listen, this is not it's not going to be like a movie. A company's not going to put themselves in that kind of liability. It'll never happen.
Today was a movie.
It was a movie.
Big facts.
But okay, but long story short, VR and augmented reality is going to be absolutely unbelievable.
It was similar to that. There was a movie actually that recently came out. Ryan Reynolds that he was doing that.
Free Guy?
Yeah, Free Guy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like something similar to that, right?
Bro, the problem with augmented reality is once it comes out, I'm never having another real conversation with you.
Why?
Because you were always going to be tapped into something. You especially, you
hopefully
are a crack
HuddleTalk.
addict.
My attention is going to be like
Cal is always going to have a stream of something playing.
Yeah, I'm going to have my attention is going to be diverted like every second.
You are going to be one of the worst people to
100%.
socialize with.
Yeah.
So better squeeze the juice out of you on this podcast.
I'm gonna get every last drip out of you.
Jeepers creepers.
Oh my god! Speaking of, you said movies, but have you started watching Wheel of Time on Amazon yet?
No, it came out.
Yeah, on Friday, the first 3 episodes.
No, I didn't watch
premiered.
it yet. No, thanks for reminding me though.
Okay, I'm not gonna ruin nothing. Obviously, this isn't that kind of podcast, but
Yeah, it is.
when you do start watching, we watched 2 of the first 3 episodes on Friday night.
Okay.
When we got ourselves into a bit of the edibles.
Yeah.
So by the time
Not
we got
sober.
into deep into the first episode, we were, high, very high.
Okay.
For lack of better
And let me just tell you that from what I remember of these 2 episodes, there is a
hilarious.
lot of action.
It's hilarious.
And there's a lot of just like, my goodness, we were, it's like these, creatures, these bad things, they never have like stamina issues, bro.
They just always are moving.
They just keep coming, and it's like, oh my god, this TV show just started, bro. How is there so much going on already?
Yeah. That's how they get you, bro. They want to get you,
Bro, and Mike and I were laughing. We're like, what the fuck? It's been 2 minutes without violence? We're getting bored.
We're getting bored.
Then all of a sudden,
Bring the Trollocs back in.
Come through a curtain. They're like 7-minute sequence of people running and dying.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is what we're here for.
Yeah.
You know what though? If you had asked me to give a review, I can't. I don't know.
I'd have to rewatch those
Context
episodes.
wise, I'm not sure if it was any good.
I'm big because
Really, eh? And this guy was saying that it was like he was big on the books, so he was like,
it's my favorite books I've ever read. So there's a reason why I've been hype about the show coming out. The things I don't like about the show coming out, with how they're doing it, is that these characters are like, I can't even remember how old they are to start the books, but they seem very innocent and they're like kind of young and naive and so I would say like 16 or 17 years old.
Right.
But when this show starts, Gwen, who's one of the main female characters, is 20. Like Nynaeve, who's another one's 25, and they all look like they're like from one of these CW type shows like Riverdale, where like they're
What is
27
CW?
I don't know what it stands for. It's a TV station,
Okay.
sort of thing. But anyways, yeah, it's very like grown people, that don't look their age at all, and it's very like sexualized right away. Where it's like it's not like that.
Yeah. They were
In the books, like it's innocent, like it's all this. So it's kind of strange how they did that. Also, they're from like think of like them being from the Shire to start the TV show.
Yeah.
It's very secluded. it's very much like a village where everyone is basically all the same.
Yeah.
They've literally made this the most diverse community where it's black guys, white girls, Asian girls, brown girls, brown guys. And I'm like,
Hispanic guys.
HR purposes, bro.
Yeah, I understand it's 2021, but like imagine if Game of Thrones was like that and the thing. Like the world is diverse once you go out to the world.
But
well, why in this place that is nobody has ever been out of like...
You're a hater.
What? Yeah, bro. You clearly don't support interracial relationships, bro.
Clearly. So it's just like, why are they all a different race?
Do you guys remember?
This isn't Toronto in 2021. It's the two rivers in the 1200s, bro. Like what?
Speaking of Toronto, and this is like, I know back in the day they probably turned up to mead and alcohol and all that.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Ciroc first came out and everybody was dick riding? I got a bottle of pineapple Ciroc.
Oh, Ciroc.
How big of a
P. Diddy
joke that was?
pushing that so hard too.
Bro, everybody thought they were a baller for paying, what was it, like $60? I don't even remember, but it was too much money.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think the alcohol percentage was like, 25? Like it's just
Is that considered low?
It's low compared to like vodka is 40. So like it was 25 or 30%, and like the rest of it, it's just like it's sugar water, syrupy, flavored shit. But what's the other alcohol brand that gets hype? I feel like Courvoisier and
Courvoisier, yeah. There's a whole song on that.
What about
Courvoisier?
Hennessy?
Hennessy.
Why is that such a big thing?
Hennessy, man, it's huge, man. Even
why
they sponsor
is it
the NBA now too.
I remember. So the one time I went to Florida.
Yeah.
Florida man. I saw a Florida man.
With a bottle of Hennessy?
Oh, with a brown bag?
Bro, no, even better. The guy literally, bro, it's a red light in Florida. The guy gets out of his car with a gun, holding his pistol, starts like dancing. The music's going crazy. He pops his trunk. The light turns green. Doesn't give a fuck. He grabs a bottle of Henny out of his trunk, and he's just dancing, living, drinking Hennessy, and just like everybody's honking. Public, doesn't care. Gets back in his car, finish it, and there's like maybe I don't know how much, like a mouthful. Whips it out of his car and drives away.
What?
And this was in Miami, Florida.
It had to be Florida.
I was like,
bro, that is ridiculous.
I was like,
bro,
this
how's
guy's
he living life on the edge like that? He has a gun on him, drinking Hennessy
in the middle, out of his trunk, like made a purpose.
Even the cops don't want to mess with him.
No,
it's another regular day in Miami.
What about Fetty Wap?
Oh man, Fetty Wap, man, he's on some. He got arrested on some huge federal charges. Yeah. Apparently, he was.
You didn't see that coming.
Right. He was a trap queen. He found his trap queen. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my god, bro!
This guy was caught on. He was shipping cocaine in UPS trucks.
Why?
Wow.
Yeah,
he could have just produced another song. Such an idiot,
bro. It's like, man, opportunity is there for you to make your money the right way.
If I was Fetty Wap, I would have stuffed the cocaine behind my fake eyeball. That's how I would have gotten it into the country.
And just kill yourself, right?
You know, when they're serving
kill yourself.
When they're serving people years now, like you're in court and you're gonna find out how many years you have to serve in prison. They need to bring that guy from like wherever he's from, Southeast Asia. Yeah. It's 41, 42, 43.
Yeah, this should make it a lot easier for you.
I love that guy. I love that guy, bro.
It's like counting up. It's like, God damn, how many am I serving?
God, man. Yeah. So this. Man.
41, 42, 43.
What a legend,
44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
Yo, do you think like when we grow older, they're going to have like a special on him, like Where Are They Now type of thing?
I don't know.
Remember him? This is where he is now. That's the same place.
Still counting.
But honestly, he's one of those guys that catches those eels with Coke.
Wow.
Imagine, this New Year's, I want him at my party. Countdown? Can you imagine?
Are we doing a New Year's party this year?
We should, yeah.
Let's live stream it.
Yeah.
Ooh, bro.
Wow.
Make sure people come in sitting down all night long. Get banned.
Make it a silent party too. Everybody bring their headphones, noise cancellation. That's it.
Honestly, no. Everybody can just chill, man. They could. Whoever wants to podcast. It would just be live on.
Just bring on, a bunch of
do a countdown on live.
Give them. You know what? We can set up topics.
Will be appropriate.
Give them a topic card. You sit down. They don't know what they're about to discuss. 3 people, 2 people. Put the thing down. Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Playing games live.
Yeah.
Are we doing it? We
can do that. Yeah, we can do a New Year's live. New Year's live with HuddleTalk.
Hypothetical situations.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah. Let them discuss it.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea, actually. Yeah. Michael, you're on to something.
Sir, you already know.
Does anybody have any remaining topics? We're at an hour and 8 minutes.
Not really topics. It's totally unrelated, but I actually just wanted to bring it up. But it's funny. I know Nick hasn't really played many sports growing up. when you played sports, have you ever been in like a league where one team is totally dominant?
Of course, bro.
Like a rec league? Like
of course, yeah. And these guys are usually guys that already play with each other. Like,
yeah. So there's one team, and I think, again, it's like Texas or something. It's in the U.S.
Yeah.
The playoffs started, and the rec league kicked the team out.
What?
Because they were too good. So the team, it's football.
Yeah.
So they like outscored their opponents like 99-6 throughout the year.
Yeah.
They only had like one of the head coaches on the other team was like led the charge to kick this team out of the for the playoffs sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like my team's pretty good. And we only had one first down on them all game.
Bro, that's bullshit though. They
but it's like, that's something you do at the beginning of your year. You know what? They're 7 and 8 years old, bro.
Bro, it's not
These kids
fair.
are 7 and 8.
It's not fair. It's not fair to that team because that program should have created divisions and put, teams according to the, how good they are.
Yeah.
That's not fair. Like, just like right now, I'm in this ball league that every Tuesday with Sonny and the rest of the guys,
and there's
right?
the Division 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, different divisions, right? Because of course you want to make the competition fair and, and so everybody can enjoy it, right? You don't want to come there every week and get blown out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
if I'm trying to get blown out, I'm going somewhere else. You know what I mean? I
blew my back today. Doing what? I'll save that for later. Come on.
Damn.
But it's like, you can't even blame them for it, bro. Like, first of all, they got kicked out like permanently. It's like a permanent ban.
Yeah, they're basically saying go to a tiered league. But to do that when the playoffs are already starting, you can't do that at the end of the year in the playoffs.
You guys lost me. You guys lost me.
Wow. I know.
You guys lost me.
What? How? What happened? Where you
know what's going on in my head?
What?
41, 22, 43.
The amount of seconds I gotta listen to you guys talk about this imaginary sports league
when we sit Nick down on the New Year's, his topic with someone else is going to be entirely sports.
No, it's going to be entirely VR. Really.
No, I'm going to make the topic. I'm going to make them talk about sports.
Get you out of your comfort zone, bro.
Listen, it's not about comfort zone. It's just sports. Like
or The Rock.
What's wrong with sports, bro?
Sports.
Why do you hate sports?
Professional
so much,
sports. When guys talk about it, it's the lowest common denominator of bonding, social bonding, and conversation.
Why would it be
this is the way that I see it?
Though? Why?
This is the way that I see it because most people, when they come to the conversation with sports,
it's something that you enjoy, bro. If you enjoy, no, I disagree.
No, I disagree.
I disagree.
You
with
like
you. Listen,
okay? Listen.
You listen. All right. If you enjoy something, and you have a group of friends that enjoy basketball. That with you.
No, I understand.
Okay,
I understand.
You're willing to talk.
What I'm saying though. You want
me to talk about work all the time?
No, hold on. Do I talk about work all the time?
Yes.
No, I do not. There's better things to talk about.
No, not really.
I never talk about work.
You're right.
It's one of those things where me personally, I just don't like getting dragged in those conversations because I could care less. Because most people.
There you go. Because you could care less.
No. Listen.
It's true, bro. You don't care.
The reason for this is because most people, I know when people are bullshit. I'm in sales.
Okay.
I understand when somebody's talking out their ass.
Okay.
Somebody has no business speaking on something. I just leave the conversation.
Okay.
I'm done.
99%
of the time when I hear guys talking about sports, it gets into this pissing contest, banging their chest. Oh, that team versus this. It's like neither of you have at any fucking point. You've drifted so far from any stat or reason or even integrity in playing the sport and really understanding. It's literally just an invisible pissing contest between I know more about the sport than you know more about.
Okay. You know what?
This is what I find most guys when they get in this conversation about a party.
I would agree with you on that in only one aspect of sports, and that when it comes to fantasy sports. When you're drafting players, creating your teams, and you have to face other people and go ahead. Okay. That's when people start measuring dicks.
So me personally, I disagree with that because this is the way I look at it. Imagine, so I listen to music, I played instruments. Imagine me listening to music all day long.
Yeah.
I have no fucking clue how to play guitar.
Right.
That guy fucking sucks. That guy should have nailed it. This is 90% of the sports community who've never played anything higher than a fucking beer league.
Okay, that's not fair though, bro. You can't. Okay, so you're telling me only the athletes that play the sports can speak on the sport.
I cringe every fucking time I see some old fat piece of shit.
Right.
Come on, ref. You should have. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
This is what I say to this person in my head.
Okay, but shut the fuck up. Your argument doesn't. My argument is basically saying, okay, listen, if these guys, if they're gonna speak on this sport or speak on what's going on,
most people have
like
no
you said,
fucking
guitar,
clue.
You said the guitar,
amateurs.
Okay,
they're garbage.
Why? Okay, how can you leave it to only professional athletes to discuss this? Okay, what happens to the fans? The fans make the sport. If you want to, if we're gonna be honest,
I understand.
We give it the publicity that it has. We give it the viewers and everything, all of that, right? If I have an opinion, like just say, okay, listen, guys, just eye test. I don't think this player is doing good right now. Why is he on the court?
Okay, but a lot of people don't approach it analytically.
Okay,
this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
The problem with the conversation, it always boils down to just nothing.
But that complicates things. If you'd base everything on analytics and you're like,
that's why I'm saying like I don't enjoy it because like I am happy if I hear somebody talk about sports and they're talking about baseball and they're talking about averages and like they really know their shit.
You can't relate to that shit. All you're saying is okay, this person knows what he's talking about. What but if that guy's just bullshitting too?
So that's fine. He doesn't like sports talk at a very base level.
No, but
essentially, that's the useless sports talk where that's the common denominator and that's bad talk.
I always
because they're not looking for something that's genuinely.
You guys because every fucking conversation, it's like putting a worm on a fucking hook.
Yeah. Okay.
Kobe versus LeBron. I don't know. I don't care.
But
you're salivating.
Nobody does that.
But nobody does that.
That was like
every fucking time.
We did that. We did that in high school, bro.
That was
did it like 3 months ago.
We did it in high school. No, we did it in high school.
If I dropped it in conversation, I could get you guys talking about it. And then I just sit back and I listen, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Of course you can. But let me be honest with you. Right now, the way we look at sports, we're a lot more mature now. We understand the game a lot more. So, for example, if me and Michael are discussing the game, we're discussing the game that just happened. It's live right now. We're watching it. We're saying,
most of the time people are not adding anything.
This defensive adjustment should have been made. Why is this guy on the court? He's not producing clearly.
Okay.
You know, it just provides like a different type of an experience.
Can't you relate that? Yeah. Can't you relate that? Whether it's sports though, it's the same with almost anything.
Yeah, what do you enjoy? What do you enjoy?
You want to talk about cars. You want to talk about electronics. You want to talk about
what do you enjoy?
But I agree, and I agree with Mike on this. I agree with Mike on this. But I find the people, this is what I'm saying, the people who tend to gravitate towards sports because they don't have any other hobbies. They've done so because it's the lowest fucking common denominator. That 90% of the time, if you were to talk about sports and know the smallest percentage, I can have a conversation with another guy. This is my point. Everybody's allowed to have hobbies, things that they enjoy, but it's the lowest fucking common denominator for
Isn't that a good thing that like there's a common ground where everybody could relate to something?
People are just doing that to be understood, not to be genuine because they give a fuck.
Don't you want to be understood?
I have other ways to communicate. I don't need to follow sports to have a conversation or a friendship with somebody.
But I don't think, I don't think that the reason something like sports, or maybe it's music, or maybe it's a recent awards show,
right?
The reason those are the common things that get talked about is because people aren't sure what the other person is interested in, but they probably know there's a good chance. If it's me and him, just first thing we'll say, "Oh, did you see the game last night?" Or this happened. That's again, one thing. But if I go to a party and there's 3 other guys there, and
I'm not going to bring up the Raptors game.
No, of course. Well, you will. It might. If you're all from the same city. No, but you'll talk. You'll be like, hey, like, what do you do for work? Maybe that's something. Yeah. But it'll quickly get to that awkward spot where all of a sudden the next thing that's going to come up is something to do with social media, entertainment, or sports. And
that's because people don't know how to have a conversation without it. That's my point.
Yes. Yeah. That's completely fine.
That's not everybody. Like, I wouldn't come to a party.
I think you're an intelligent guy.
I want to start discussing you have to actually like, when you see the people that you're around, you've got to be able to like read them and see what type of people they are.
Understood, you know? But you've been following basketball all your life.
Yeah.
When I hear you talk about it,
right,
it's not like I'm judging you. I think you understand. You've played it.
Right.
You understand it.
Right.
You can speak to me and you can have a conversation with me about it.
Right.
And I don't even have to be a sports fan.
Right.
What I am saying is there's so many very, very stupid people who gravitate towards it.
Right.
I don't have enough of a vested interest to pretend like I care because of all the ding dong charading around. It's different when Khaled talks to Mike because you guys actually have an appreciation.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the amount of people that shop at Walmart
that just
don't brush their teeth.
Bring it up.
Fucking losers that just use it as a crutch and they buy a fucking sports jersey because now I want to fit in. This is the problem that I have with sports. And that's my argument is like, I just find that there's so much of that mentality and like even the way that that's so commercialized, like all the ads, all the bullshit, right? I don't care. Like I like sports.
Okay. Where do you think that stems from? Is it like social anxiety? Like people do not know how.
I don't like the pageantry associated with professional level sports. Like the whole idea of like, even, you know, I'm football may be a good or a bad example, but like the amount of breaks is specifically engineered for the amount of ad time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That just like, I lose interest immediately.
The one thing I will agree with, and I find it humorous because you'll have a lot of people who like are massive sports fans.
Right.
Their crutch in a conversation will be going to sports, whether it's football, basketball, what have
Events,
you.
right?
And they're the exact same people who will like throw a tweet out on Twitter or whatever and bash like the groups of 100,000 girls that idolize and love watching every episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Right.
But they're the exact same way.
Exactly.
Exact same way. Yeah, it's that
her.
Yeah, but I don't think like, I wouldn't say, oh, these people are such losers. I feel almost kind of bad that those people haven't been able to find something else.
Yeah,
because sports is, and the Kardashians
it's just
and
thrown
makeup
on you. Yeah, it's thrown
and
on
cars
you.
has been thrown towards guys and girls, and it's like that's just what they think.
I mean, even if you go to like a local bar, right, for example, even a Boston Pizza, man, what's being played on the big screens? It's sports.
Of course.
What are the guys discussing at the bar?
Because there's nothing on the daily.
You don't know
on
this
TV.
guy.
No, I know.
You guys are discussing that game.
But like, look, I'd be happy to go to a Raptors game with you.
Right.
I like for example, of the professional sports, basketball is my favorite one to watch because there's the least amount of bullshit downtime.
Yeah,
all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I think it's really interesting. It's fun. It's a good time. It's exciting. I like playing sports. It's not like I'm anti-sport.
Right,
but just
right.
like my point is that when it comes up in conversation, 90% of the time, I just leave that conversation or dismiss it.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the time,
you're not trying to get to know me or what I have to say.
not that. It's just like I find the majority of the time people just start speaking out their ass, and I deal with bullshitters all day long.
So you're just over it.
As soon as I start catching on to somebody who's a fucking sideline coach. I've just lost interest.
Yeah, you're mentally tapped out.
That's where it comes from me.
Yeah.
And like the amount of times I see where, oh, ref, come on, you should. It's like, shut the fuck up. You can't even run 100 yards.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And that's what bothers me about this is all the fucking sideline coaches.
Right.
Anyways, and that's my point. I like guys who like sports. Don't get me wrong. I can respect it if you have a passion for it. But like I'm saying, 70% of the people I'm sure that like it are doing it because the guy that they want to be likes it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. But I guess we can agree to disagree. Because
we can agree to disagree. But you're never going to get me interested talking about this,
fair.
shit.
Yeah, fair.
It's
fair
just
enough.
like different strokes, right?
Yeah,
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, facts.
I like different folks giving me strokes.
All right, HuddleTalkTV, we're out. That's episode 24. Michael just ended it right there. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Michael, for ending alive.
Yeah. You guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your Sunday. We're out, guys.
Yeah, solving racism one episode at a time.
The Strokes are a great band, bro. Band. I don't know why you guys are making it seem sexual. Maybe we can play some of their music on this pod.
Nice save, fam. Yeah.